Oh, you got a headset? Hey everybody, Lexie Caldwell, broker with Century 21 Affiliated. I'm up here in Mason. I've got Brandon Adler with Cross Country Mortgage down in Jackson. We are keeping our social distance apart here. Hi Brandon, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there. I got all my Century 21 get up on. I was in LA a couple weeks. Well, it's been probably close to a month now, and I got this shirt there, and they handed out these pins. I got this weird looking water bottle.
Fancy.
Funny, but this is all part of the new branding that they've got going on. Very nice. I love it.
That's right.
Yeah. So they've got, next year is our 50th year with Century 21. So there's
That's awesome.
yeah, there's another word mark, they call it. It's like another logo that says 2020, but then it's like a 50 or yeah, it's pretty cool. It'll be coming out soon. So anyway, so I wanted to just kind of get some updates with you with all this chaos that's going on right now. Like, can you share some of your thoughts about what's happening right now?
Yeah. So it is a very weird time in the real estate and mortgage industry right now. We can all agree on that. And not just that, beyond that. As far as what's going on in our world, we've got obviously a lot of people right now are off from work. And it wasn't planned. It's nobody's fault. So what we're seeing is real estate transactions that are delayed. Now, I know Michigan Realtors came out with an addendum to kind of help with some of the delays to protect the buyers and sellers. What I've seen so far is everybody on both sides has been very, very flexible in understanding, hey, we're laid off until April 13th. We hope, we think we should be going right back. And as far as the financing process, at this point in time, our understanding is, hey, once they're back to work full time, we should be able to get an updated phone call verification saying, hey, yeah, George is back, 40 hours, we're back to business as usual. Then those transactions should be able to complete right away.
Nice. Okay, so a phone call with the employer?
In most instances, that should do the trick.
Nice, because that's like right now, right? We're not waiting on a letter from HR. It's just like,
well,
no?
You're not going to be waiting on a letter, but think about some of those companies that have an HR department, and that HR person can only field X amount of calls at a time. So some's going to be electronic. Some might be, might be a scenario where we're able to get a pay stub. And some the phone call will fix. Now, in addition to that, the delay on deal A has an effect on deal B, which has an effect on deal C in a lot of instances.
Yeah.
So it is, chaos is a good word. But I also think that for the most part, we're going to have a fairly simple recovery from that. Now, obviously, that's not a cover-all. There's going to be a lot of people who have more of an impact on this with loss of jobs, loss of but for those that are just kind of off right now, maybe getting paid or have the means to make it a couple of weeks, they're going to be business as usual, we hope.
Right.
Now, you asked me before the call to talk about this and what's going on with rates and markets.
Right.
That is a whole nother layer of chaos right now. So it was about, if I was tech savvy, I'd be able to show you the chart in there. About 2.5 weeks ago, mortgage bonds, which is where interest rates come from. Okay, so the Fed lowered rates to 0.25. Everybody's thinking mortgage rates are going to be free. That's not the case. What the Fed controls is a short-term borrowing rate called the federal funds rate, which drives prime, which drives maybe some credit cards, adjustable rate mortgages, home equity lines of credit, yada, yada, yada. Long-term money fixed rate mortgages come from the mortgage bond market, which are called mortgage-backed securities.
Okay.
Now, simultaneous to the Fed saying, hey, we're going to lower our rate, they also said we're going to pump billions of dollars into the mortgage-backed security, mortgage bonds market. So when you get money coming into the mortgage bond market, bond prices go up, which drives interest rates down. Before they said that, 2.5 weeks ago, bond prices were at the all-time high. We had the lowest rates that some of us had ever seen, even lower than 10 years ago, 8 years ago, whenever that final dip down was. Well, it was short-lived with this coronavirus, sparked the markets. Stocks are dropping, which usually drives bond prices up. Well, what happened is bonds started dropping too, because a lot of technical stuff, but banks were needing money. So they were just liquidating everything because they had to have this cash. So we saw stocks falling and bonds falling, which pushes rates up. So within a week, we saw interest rates were 1% higher, in 3 days.
Right.
Well, what happened the next week is the Fed says, hey, we're going to pump some money into the markets. And they start doing that, which technically speaking should have pushed bond prices up and rates down. Well, bond prices went up and rates kept going up because of fear, panic, and lack of capital with the banks and investors. So it's everything that we've been trained to watch for to guide our people basically just collapsed overnight. So we have seen rates trading in the highest levels that probably I've ever seen. And so I don't want to say they've calmed a little bit, but right now they're saying that the markets are overinflated, and a lot of it has to do with the fear, the panic, and some of the investors, they've stopped taking stuff. So it's really a crazy time in the mortgage environment right now, adding to the layoffs, our realtor partners that can't work. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. So the speculation from the experts, who are way smarter than me, is that we should see rates stabilize, and through the year we should continue to see some of the lowest rates we've ever seen. So light at the end of the tunnel.
Right. And, I couldn't help but think about when you were talking about this deal affecting that deal and I tell my clients, it's like stacking cards.
Yeah.
I've dealt with clients before that had pushback on why realtors are even exist and why do you make so much money on all this, all that hoopla. But the thing is, without these brokers and realtors navigating these transactions for these clients, where would these people be? You know what I'm saying? Thank goodness for all of the agents and all the lenders and the title people and everything that move this economy forward and keep things flowing that way. And I think that, these people that think that, we shouldn't even have the job that we have, I think, this whole situation will speak to that. And I think that, the agents will come out ahead and the value will be shown.
Agreed. And, case by case here, we run into the FSBO, the for sale by owner. Yeah. And, they realize quickly through the process that, a lot of what you as a realtor, a lot of what you do is behind the scenes and may not be visible. And a lot of times they, at the end, are like, okay, I get it. And maybe it's a scenario where they were buying from mom or dad or uncle or something like that. But from my perspective, having went through some of those and holding the hands of the for sale by owner, our realtor partners are extremely valuable to us.
Yeah, I tell you, I know some people that are those for sale by owner people, and it's an entire full job selling your own home. The documents alone, and not getting yourself in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So if there's people watching that are like, oh, these realtors, it's there are good realtors. There's a lot of good realtors. lot of good realtors in our area. And so I would encourage anybody to reach out, not necessarily just me, but if you have questions, we're always happy to answer. No strings attached. We're here to provide value, and that's what we like to do. So what can you say about maybe someone, because I can't help but think about the people that aren't working and that maybe, kind of headed for a little bit of like a pickle with their house, if they're not. I know there's been chatter out there. I haven't dug into it too much yet about basically a pause on the mortgage to where it's going to tack on at the end. What can you say about that from your perspective?
So I had a client reach out yesterday and said, hey, due to coronavirus, I am laid off right now. What can we do? And I point blank told them, I'm like, look, here's what you need to do. Now, the type of loan that a gentleman had taken was a MISHDA down payment assistance loan a year ago. And all of those are handled by a company called Loan Care. And that's the bill collector or the servicer that we call it.
Okay.
So I said, here's what I want you to do. I said, I need you to hop onto your online portal, pull the number. I said, I want you to call their servicing department right away. And I want you to tell them what you just told me. Hey, due to coronavirus, I'm laid off right now. What kind of options do we have? There's a famous title closer around that always says, your lender doesn't want to be, how does he say? Your lender doesn't want the house back, but they don't want to be ignored. And it's completely true. So call them, because what's going to happen is that conversation is noted in your file, one. And two, they're going to point you to anything that's available right then. Now, they did talk to him about what they called it a forbearance or a payment deferral, and where they were willing to look at it with him and take what's owed now and postpone it. So it wasn't going away, it wasn't forgiven, but they were talking with him about what kind of break that was going to give him. Now for him, he responded to me and said, hey, here's what I got. They were talking about being able to postpone some, but for me, it just doesn't make sense. We're going to keep trying to make our payments as usual. So number one, anybody that is in trouble, anybody that thinks they have the potential to be in trouble, or they know it's coming, they think it's coming, whatever the case is, call your lender, hop onto your online portal, do a chat. Hey, I don't know what's going to happen 30 days from now. Just want to let you know I'm laid off, because any resources that are going to be available is where they're going to get directed to right then.
Yeah, and that's important not to wait, right? I mean, the longer you wait, it's not going to go away.
It's not going to go away. It's going to snowball. And if someone is struggling and they're not getting help from their mortgage servicer, we do have nonprofit resources available right here in our communities. And in Jackson, one of them is the Community Action Agency.
Yeah.
They can help. They have people that will help talk to the servicer. They are a liaison between us and the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, which sometimes can get involved. So it's important they reach out to your realtor, reach out to your lender, reach out to your servicer, because if nothing else, we can give you some direction on who you need to be talking to, and having those conversations is critical, because if you blink and you're 2 months down the road and you've ignored your lender, they're not going to be there. It gets to a point where their hands are tied. There's nothing they can do. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Please, anybody that's watching that, thinks they might be in some sort of situation, especially with their mortgage like that, reach out. I always joke that since I've moved up to this Lansing market, I've got all these connections in Lansing and still in Jackson. And I joke that I'm connected like the mobsters, but without all of the illegal activity. So I've got contractors, I've got painters, I've got plumbers, I've got all the resources. So I'm happy to give those lists. Community Action Agency is a great one. There's resources up here in Lansing. So don't be afraid to reach out, anyone that may be in a situation. What else you got for us? Is there anything else burning that you feel like anyone should kind of hear?
If you haven't looked at refinancing your mortgage lately, it's definitely a good time to talk about it. And what we're kind of doing with our clients is we're finding what's the number we need. And what I say is kind of teeing them up and getting all the stuff in and being ready. So when we go in and we see a point where rates hit the magic mark, we're able to take advantage of it.
Okay.
The other thing, one of the reasons with rates is capacity. If every person in the country tries to come in and refinance next week and rates dip, they're gonna shut down the markets. The capacity is not there. Lenders can't handle it. So talk with your lender, find somebody you're comfortable with, and just have the conversation. If it's going to make sense, get it set up so it's ready. Beyond that, I mean, it's a great time if you're down to get some of those home projects done.
Yes. I saw something that said there was about $30,000 worth of paint transactions at a Lowe's, like in one day or something. I mean, it's just, everybody's home doing something. I wish I would have prepared a little bit better, but I picked up my basement yesterday, so when my internet was down. So yeah, everybody's, I think, working on their house and getting some things done. So, and I had also said too, like, I'm happy to do like a virtual tour with someone, because there's always those questions like, do I paint this? Do I get new carpet? Like, what should I do with the flooring? Like, so there's a lot of different ways that we can still move these transactions forward. People that are thinking about buying, thinking about selling. We've got lots of ideas where I think anyone in the real estate industry is here to help. But yeah, so I appreciate your time, Brandon. That's a lot of good information. But yeah, anyone, Brandon Adler with Cross Country Mortgage, I will drop his email, name, and phone number. I could probably tag you, so we'll get some contact information on there. And then feel free to ask questions in the comments once I get this posted, and we'll get everybody what they need. So thank you.
Thanks for having me, and we didn't even plan the matching Detroit hats.
I know, right? Yeah, got my little Century 21 get up on. I'm like, I put earrings on for everybody. I even put on my perfume, I can't smell it because I'm like, I haven't done my hair in about a week or two. I don't know. So, all right, Brandon. Well, enjoy. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you so much.
You too. Thanks.
Talk to you soon. Okay. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.